Not every single founder-led business owner should be creating content on YouTube. And it's funny because I obviously help business owners create content using YouTube to help them grow their brand. But there's a very distinguishing fact between people who should be using YouTube to grow their business, coaches, consultants, agencies, etc., and people who should not do it and what that stage is at. So if you've been debating on doing content for your business right now, hopefully this video will at least just provide you some more clarity on if you should be doing YouTube specifically, or you shouldn't be doing it and just do anything else, ads or short form content or something along those lines. And really overall, the number one thing I'm going to say across all this, I've said this 1,000 times, is that if you cannot commit to volume, nothing else is going to matter. Volume is the key and consistency to really growing with YouTube long form content specifically. The biggest brands in the entire world have done a lot of content consistently for a long period of time. Now, the more volume you can do in a very structured way will shorten that time frame down immensely to where like within a couple of weeks, maybe in a month or two, you can really start generating a lot of clients for your business, or at least helping your existing sales process and existing marketing and what you're doing right now. But really what I want you to understand is that a few videos is not going to move anything. It's not. Like if I go to the gym 1 time a week and I expect to lose weight or gain muscle, it's just not going to happen. No matter if I spend 20 hours, that single day, I'm going to burn out. There's a certain point in time where naturally it's not worth the time anymore. That's why, again, I don't spend so much time trying to make the most polished videos, because there comes a point in time where like everything else extra on top of that doesn't give you the best ROI for your time. And that's why I just stick to just doing a higher volume of content that's very structured, that's very beneficial, but not the most perfect video. In addition to that overall, is if you're at a spot right now where your offer is not validated in the market, meaning you don't have an existing sales process, you're not currently getting in clients consistently, getting really good results, getting feedback, expanding your offer, running ads, doing anything else whatsoever. Like if you're completely brand new, YouTube long form content is not the space to start. And the reason why is because people can instantly see your content if you know what you're doing or not. And that's the benefit, because naturally, if I'm putting out pieces of content, they're very long form, a little bit more in depth compared to just a quick 20 or 30-second video overall. It's very easy to see if somebody's BSing their way through that piece of content or just reading a script. When I'm sitting here and I'm doing all this in one take, I probably won't have a single cut in this video unless I stutter and make a weird face, and maybe I'll cut it out. I might just keep it honestly in at this point for the sake of the video. But it's like naturally, if I can just sit here and talk off the cuff about these things overall, obviously I have a little bit of notes in front of me, but I'm not reading a script, because naturally I can talk about this because I do this on a day-to-day basis. And that's the exact same thing when you're sitting here and you're not able to share your real opinions, your real experiences, what you're doing for clients today, what you're doing for yourself today, because you have imposter syndrome, you'll never be able to actually grow using YouTube. And that's a big thing, is like, if you just go validate your offer first, make sure it works, get results for yourself, get results for clients overall, and just speak about that in the content, it works really good. I remember I heard Hermosi talk about this years ago, which she was just the first person who really put it into words. I had been doing this in action for years, but I never actually just equated it to this. And it's like, if you just do more shit and then speak about the things that you're doing, that becomes your content. The problem is that most people try to just speak on things that they haven't done before. So it's like, if I try to grow a sales agency as a reference and like try to train up closers and staff them, etc., and I just start talking about it in content today, it's like any person who's in sales will be able to weed through everything I'm saying, because it's probably not going to make sense because I've never done it. And that's the problem that ends up running into. And that's why most people can't continuously do content at scale, is because they run into imposter syndrome, like I said previously. And for those of you who might not know imposter syndrome, all it just means is like, you have an identity of what you think you are. So like in that case scenario, I think I'm a sales trainer. I think I'm amazing at that, but I've never done it before. So that's not actually who I am. But I'm talking about this person who I think I am over here. I'm trying to portray them that person. And that's why it doesn't come across naturally. That's why people like that have to have all their content scripted and be very structured. That's why they also have a fear of posting content, because they have a fear that people are gonna be able to read between the lines. So if you're not at a spot where you actually know what you do in your business, do it well, and get really good results, you should not be creating long form content. You need to spend more time getting results, getting good at the thing you want to talk about. Like the reason Steph Curry, basketball player, if you're not familiar with him, one of the greatest shooters, if not the greatest shooter of all time, it's like the reason he can talk about shooting so well and being a 3-point shooter and just having the best records by far is because he does that on a day-to-day basis. Like when you watch him play, he's phenomenal. And so he just does more stuff, and then he can talk about it and coach about it. But if he wasn't Steph Curry and he was just some random person in the NBA, some like G leaguer who just barely got moved up, sits the bench the entire time, he's not going to be able to actually communicate those type of things the same way Steph Curry has, because it's not actually being demonstrated. Nobody can sit there and say, yeah, dude, you're phenomenal at what you do. You've coached XYZ person to get this type of result. So a lot of times it just really just means you need to go and just do more stuff. And if you can do more stuff and talk about that, you can talk exactly about the pains and problems and concerns that you went through during that experience or what your clients are actively going through. And again, the more you can do that, the more you relate to your prospects, the people you want to work with. Again, so like I know all the pains and all the problems of my ideal client. The business owner that's sitting here that's wanting to create content on YouTube. That's why a lot of times they're saying, like, should YouTube even work for my business? Will it work? How can it work? Should I create content? Should I not? So I'm creating this piece of content right here. So if one of my potential clients is asking themselves this question and they're like, hey, I've gotten some amazing results for myself and for my clients, and I do this on a day-to-day basis. And I've got amazing results, for the last 10 people that signed up, the last 100 people that signed up. And I've been doing it for 10 years. And I have a really good case study about this. Phenomenal. Create content on YouTube. This is for you. You can crush it with YouTube. We'll help you do it as well. If you want to learn about that, click the link in the top of the description. But for everybody else, if you're not at that stage, you're very early on into your business, or you're so far removed from your business that you couldn't even talk about it if you wanted to, I also wouldn't recommend doing content on YouTube. It's the exact same thing. Whether you're unexperienced or you have the experience because you own the company, but you still aren't in that experience on a day-to-day basis to be able to talk about anything, you also should not be creating this type of content. Because again, the exact same thing, people will just weed through that all day long. They'll see it in the content, they'll smell it out, then you'll build a lot of distrust. And a lot of people don't realize, everybody hears this saying, the internet stays around forever. Everything that's on the internet will be around here for forever. Maybe it will, maybe it won't, who cares? But at least right now it will. And so if you burn your reputation by going out there and creating a bunch of content around things that you don't know, it's going to come back to bite you at the very end of the day.